You're watching Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us as we react to the NFL trade deadline, where today your Seattle Seahawks did nothing. That's okay, though. The Seahawks did make some moves prior to the trade deadline, most notably bringing in Ernest Jones IV, the linebacker for the Tennessee Titans. And keep this in mind, too, folks, before you get too upset about the Seahawks not making any moves today on trade deadline day. The trade deadline did move back this year from where it was in previous years. So teams like the Seahawks and others, they didn't necessarily want to wait around for the trade deadline. When they saw a deal they wanted to make, they jumped on it, and we saw a much more active period for these trades than what we've typically seen in the past. Now the Seahawks on a bye week. Where does this team go from here? Coming off 2 straight losses, still in contention. Can they figure some things out? Let's hear what the 12s have to say as we react to trade deadline day. Before we go any further in today's show, folks, need you to subscribe to Seahawks Today. We just passed 59,000 subscribers on the channel, going to 60,000. That's our next goal. For the best Seahawks coverage you won't find anywhere else, you got to be subscribed to Seahawks Today. Join the family of 12s, and you'll be glad you did. Let's roll through some of these trades. Let's tell you about some of these notable moves that happened today. We began with the Detroit Lions getting some much-needed help after the injury to Aiden Hutchinson. They bring in Geno Smith from the Cleveland Browns, giving up a 5th and 6th round pick, and they also pick up a 7th round pick. A very good move for the Detroit Lions to stay in contention in the NFC. Then you had the Bengals get some help at the running back position, bringing in my guy, Khalil Herbert, former Kansas Jayhawk and Virginia Tech Hokie. He's been a solid running back. That's a good fit for Cincinnati. The Cowboys, not known for making many deals, they got some receiver help. Jerry brings in Jonathan Mingo from the Carolina Panthers. They gave up a 4th round pick and got a 7th round pick in return. Arguably the biggest trade of the day, Marshawn Lattimore is headed to the Washington Commanders as the Saints received a 3rd, 4th, and 6th, and the Commanders receive a 5th round pick. The Commanders have been one of the most surprising teams in the NFL, and now they're taking a step closer to get even better for Dan Quinn's squad there in Washington. Meanwhile, the Pittsburgh Steelers got some receiver help. They've been on the receiver market for a long time, trying to weigh their options of who they could potentially bring in. We heard rumblings about DK, although Adam Schefter shot those down yesterday, and he didn't get traded, thank goodness. Obviously, they were in on Brandon Ayuk for a long time. They end up settling for Mike Williams, giving up a 5th round pick to do so, getting some help for Russell Wilson in that squad there in Pittsburgh. And there were some other moves that happened. The Steelers also brought in Preston Smith from the Green Bay Packers, giving up a 7th round pick. And then the last trade of the day, the Ravens, actually a couple more trades. The Ravens bring in Tre'Davious White, and they exchange 7th round picks to make that happen. Good fit for the Ravens, and also get another player out of the NFC West. That's fine with me. And then the Niners made a last-minute trade at the 11th hour. They get some defensive tackle help. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, they always are good about making some of these moves and being aggressive. And they're about to get Christian McCaffrey back as well. Now you add in Davis. Not a bad move for the San Francisco 49ers there. So there's a look at all the trades today. Should the Seahawks have made a trade today? Or did they make the right call not making another move? It's our pinned comment today. Weigh in, let us know what you think. Why for yes, in for no, if you think Seattle should have made a trade or not. Let's start with the player formerly known. Writes, did John Schneider make the right call not making a trade? You know, I would have liked to seen a trade. The Seahawks had some obvious team needs heading into trade deadline day when you talk about the offensive tackle spot, the corner position, the safety position, the offensive guard spot. But then when you started to look a little further, teams are hesitant to trade offensive linemen, specifically good offensive linemen. So there wasn't a ton of options there. And then you talk about giving up draft capital and the Seahawks not having a ton of cap space. The big move was getting Ernest Jones. and you did that a couple of weeks ago, and he's already been a natural fit. I can live with the Seahawks not making a trade considering what they did to bring in Ernest Jones. Had they not brought in Ernest Jones and not done anything at all, then I think we would be sitting here and be pretty upset, and rightfully so. But because you made that trade a couple of weeks ago, I think we can feel okay. Now you head into the bye week, and you're hoping to get Abraham Lucas back. George Fant should be closer to full strength. I think this team can turn things around potentially as they head towards the second half of the season. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, Game Time's got you covered. And what I love about Game Time, folks, is the tickets get cheaper the closer it gets to kickoff. You choose the event you want to go to, like a Seahawks game, for example. They got the prices listed. You choose your seat, see if you like that seat or not with the 3D visuals, with their seat views. And then you're checking out with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. You might even stumble upon one of their great super deals, which is a deal you don't want to pass up on. And we got a great deal we're offering. We're giving you $20 off your first purchase when you use the promo code ChatSports at checkout. That's $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. Download Game Time today. Use promo code ChatSports for $20 off. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Game Time, proud partner of Seahawks Today. Sydney Sweeny in Seattle, Spokane's finest, checking in. How confident are you in the Seahawks after the deadline? Well, let me put it to you this way, Sydney. By the way, sup? I think that this Seahawks team is kind of in the middle right now. They're not done by any stretch of the imagination. You can't write them off. But they have a lot of work to do to get this team on track. You're at 4-5 at this point in time. You're in a division that is wide open right now with the Niners, the Cardinals, and the Rams all not playing very good. Just comes down to not beating yourselves. Try to get better on the offensive line. Try to fix some of the little things. Hope the pass rush comes more alive. I think Ernest Jones is going to be a huge impact to the second half of the season. I would look at extending him sooner than later as well. I think he's kind of this year's Leonard Williams for the Seahawks here. And the thing that I would say, the optimism I would have, is I am of the belief that this team has not played their best football yet. That these things take time to learn a new defensive scheme, to learn a new offensive scheme with this new coaching staff. It's not going to be overnight. And with adding Ernest Jones, with getting healthier on the offensive line, their best football is still in front of them, I believe. So I think, although I'm not over the top, I'm hesitant, I'm cautiously optimistic about this Seahawks team going forward from here. Do you believe in the Seahawks playoff hopes right now? Type B for believe, D for don't. Weigh in the comments section. Let us know if you believe in the Seahawks' chances or not. All right, let's go through a few more questions here. Phobia writes in, do you think we should use our first draft pick on a quarterback or offensive lineman? Way too early to tell at this point. But I would say this. If the Seahawks have a quarterback that they like, that they fall in love with, John Schneider's had his quarterbacks the last few years that he liked more than others, and they're in position to get a guy that they fall in love with, then you get the quarterback. If not, then go get that offensive line help and go from there. Gigi Salmon writes in, do we start Sam Howell? Not yet. Not yet. I'm of the belief if you have two starting quarterbacks, you have no starting quarterback. There's still a lot of football to be played. I know Geno hasn't played great the last couple of weeks, but it's too early to make a change at this point in time. Geno's got to continue to play bad like he did last week and go from there. I wouldn't give up on Geno just yet, but the leash is as short as it's ever been, I think, at this point. Nate writes in, when do you think we'll see Mike's tone change from it's a team problem to holding specific players more accountable? I don't know if that will ever change, to be honest. I think that's kind of who Mike is. I think that's his personality is, hey, we win as a team, we lose as a team, we die as a team. And I would bet that behind the scenes, he's holding those guys more accountable individually. And as long as that message is getting across one way or another, whether it's publicly or individually behind the scenes, that's what matters. And we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Adam writes in with the last question. Do you think we'll see Abraham Lucas this year since he's practicing now? Yes, I do think we will see Abraham Lucas, and we could see him as early as against San Francisco off the bye week. I think that's certainly possible. Seahawks believe he's headed on the right track, and I think he could be a huge difference for this Seahawks team from there. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now to Seahawks Today, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. We will see you for our live show coming up tomorrow afternoon. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.